Good morning, everyone. Steve here from theturtlefollower.com with your stock market outlook video for the week of Monday, September 7th, 2015. Hope everyone enjoyed their holiday weekend. This is actually the first time I've actually been able to look at the charts over the weekend. So here we are looking at the S&P futures. You can see that they are up 13 and a quarter points because they still trade during even when the markets are closed. So up 13 and a quarter points about at this point. And we've talked about this endlessly for the last couple weeks, but we had this nice uptrend line that was violated, all right, ultimately led to a pullback, came right into this 1820 area, which happened to be the same pullback as we had here in the middle of October 2013, or I'm sorry, 2014. And now, again, here we are, big down bar, and we're still trading inside, okay? So this is just like a series of consolidations, all right, where you have inside bars. So basically the bar, I'll make it even a little bigger. All right, so we had this big sell-off bar here, all right, and then we traded all of last week's action was inside that bar, and then you can see right now we're still trading inside that bar. So another form of consolidation. We've talked about this before, where I think that we have right now a series of lower highs and lower and higher lows, I should say. Lower highs, higher lows. All right, so essentially we're forming a bit of a triangle, just like that. And if we look at this from a series of levels, you could see here the first level that obviously is the line in the sand is 1830 level. All right, next level is going to be here, right around 1992. So we're trading within those two areas. All right. The third level that I would say is if we can break 1920 or 1992, you're probably going to head back up to this 2020, 2030 area. All right. And if we break down below 1830, then we probably test these lows here around 1789. So a lot of different levels. I think this just shows us that we probably go sideways for a little while, especially maybe this week. Next week, don't forget, we have the Fed meeting, so they may decide to raise rates, they may not. But ultimately, I think here in the S&P, you have a couple levels to play by, and really until one of these trend lines is broken, you just have to assume that we go sideways. I still am a big proponent of that we test this 1830, if not 1789. The way I'm looking at this is a potentially, down. They call it an ABCD pattern. So basically A, B, no, did that wrong. A is here, B is here, C is here, and then D would basically be the same length as the A to B. So basically A to B is the same as C to D. And what that means is, here you could see if we basically took a fib extension and said we went from here to here and up to here, 100% brings us down to 1725. Now, I don't know if we necessarily get to 1725, but I do think the path of least resistance right now is to the downside. All right, so that's the ES. The NQ, very similar, just hasn't sold off as much this week as it did, as it gained. So you can see here a nice little consolidation potentially forming, all right in here between 4340, which makes sense, right? Because look, all right, old resistance or old support becomes new resistance. So here's your 4340. Here's the lows that we hit down here around 3920, all right, and this low here around 4126 kind of goes back and right into the middle of the range that we had back in here in the beginning of 2015. Okay, so there's that area there. And again, I just look at it as a path of least resistance, probably sideways to down. And again, putting that fib retracement, or I'm sorry, the fib extension on, A, B, C, tells us D is somewhere around 3650 or so. All right, and again, all it's doing is taking this level here from, the distance from the sell-off to where it stopped, and then adding it to where we potentially topped out. All right, so it's the same distances on both sides of that run. The other one, the YM, Dow Futures, again, you can see broke down below that key level. All right, key support right here along this trend line. All right, that was broken, ultimately came down. And this one, again, similar situation as all the others. We have intermediate highs and lows. Oops. Okay, right through here, and really anywhere in between there makes sense. Okay, so at this point, again, A to B, and then up to C, and then down to D, and that puts us somewhere in a target area of, let's tell you exactly, 14,500. Okay, so another 1,700 points to the downside. And again, I don't know if it necessarily gets there, if it even comes close to it. It's just that's a target that you can look at. But again, the one thing you have to be aware of is we are now potentially putting in a higher low. Okay, so maybe this side gets broken and we head back up. Maybe this side gets broken, we head back down, that breaks, and then all of a sudden it's not too far off to get to that 14,500. And the last one, the Russell / TF. Okay, again, broken down below that trend line. All right, came back, tested the bottom side of the trend line, and now really is just sitting below this downward channel. And you can see it was in play before. Okay, we already had an idea that this was heading down, and then and then eventually we got the big break. But you can see here, you could either redraw a channel something like this where you're hitting the bottom side of it, and then maybe rolling over. And again, levels here are right around here, 1,072, right around here, 1,167. Okay, those are the two levels that I think you have to be aware of. And then again, don't forget, we're stuck under this downtrend line now, so that potentially leads us lower as well. So going forward this week, I would say, honestly, probably if you don't trade at all this week, probably not a bad idea. Just going forward, I think there's a couple setups out there. We're going to go over those with members in a little bit, but I just don't see the need right now to trade right here, right now. So until we get a little further clarification, until we get some better setups, members, we're going to probably have a couple, maybe 4 or 5 setups that we're looking at. And that's it. Really, again, the last couple weeks have been more about protecting capital than trying to be a hero. So that's what we're looking to do. I would suggest you guys do the same. My recommendation or my suggestion, whatever it may be, is we probably head sideways to lower this coming week. And then again, next week is a Fed meeting where they're talking about raising rates. Who knows which way the market's going to react on that. Again, it's all up in the air right now, so I would say less is more. Other than that, have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll catch you sometime this week. Take care.